Good evening. Tonight, we're doing some more solo challenge stream with me, Kai. We're going to be doing, presumably, Fractal Continuum hard, Swallow's Compass, and Saint Mokiani's Arboretum hard. Well, when I say we're going to try, I don't actually remember if there's anything in these 3 dungeons that would prevent a single person from doing them. And usually what actually is the hardest part of a dungeon comes sneaking in on us. So we're basically going to take it from the top. We're going to be doing as we usually do and try to do big mega pulls if we can, and then just make our way through. If we manage to do all 3 in time, then well, I suppose we will attempt the burn. I'm pretty sure the final boss isn't actually soloable, but we will give it a try. We'll give it the good old try. Just to see. Maybe we can beat most of the dungeon solo, but we'll see. Now, hey Kitsuneko, hey Ymir, hey Gazel, and hey Aradel. I hope you're all doing very well. Yeah, and I see you're pretty much all here as well. I guess we can just get right to it. Let's see. Need this. I have my potions. Do I need anything else? Yeah, the gang's here. I don't think I need anything else. But I have a tendency to forget something. I'm pretty sure this is all I need. Pretty sure. We also have burst potions, lots of burst potions in case we need them. And in terms of gear, I am using just my max level gear. And the Shadowbringer's relic because the customized stats scale a little bit better when you get into lower level content. At least for now, I have like a note on when it stops being good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this dungeon is completely optional, so there's a reasonable chance that some of you have never seen it before. Apparently this is a single pull that is forced upon us. It's also weirdly weak one. Weird. Are you serious? The Hunt! Hey, thank you so much for the super chat, Ymir. Says, remember, have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I hope you also have a great day, Ymir. Well, I suppose at least evening. Nothing else. Thank you. Now, let's see if we can do the Giga Pull. These Minotaurs are reasonably dangerous because they have invisible telegraphs, if I remember correctly. Exactly, Matthew. I believe my calculations said that the Endwalker relics might be mildly, like, just a smidge better once you get past Amarot. Like, something like that. But I haven't, like, made the exact calculations, but that is at least to the point when, we got paralyzed. When the Shadowbringer's relic stops being, like, de facto the best. So that's the note that I have on the subject. Hey Mewells, hope you're doing well. Ow! I don't know what it was that I got hit by there, but that hurt. That is what you call being cornered and paralyzed. Uh-oh. The dragon's voice there is not fun. Oh, at least I've built up immunity to the paralysis now. Planned. It's all skill, as you can see. I'm just that good. Ow. That would have been the perfect time for me to die to being overzealous. 655 should be out by then. Yeah, we might be getting fully... Like, it wouldn't surprise me if we're getting fully customizable relics. Like, let's just say that if we're not, then it would come as a massive surprise to me. If nothing else. But yeah, you're right. There's a reasonable chance. I believe we're expecting the final relic step is probably coming in January, right? I don't think we've reached the end game of Shadowbringers on these streams by then. Probably not. Probably not. They're really, really tanky, these guys. Also, hey Matthew. Don't remember if I already said that. But hello. Hope you are doing well. Oh, that's what was hitting me before, is that the frontal cone swipe isn't very clear. I see Aradil put some backstory on the dungeon. Thank you. No. No more dragon's voice. I also think it's very funny that they're giving like the X tons swing when the monster doing it is like a robotic in some way. They make it so that it's like a binary number, or that it adds up to a number that is common in binary. Also, pretty good that these guys don't also get Ram's voice. That would have been a problem, I think. Whew, they had a lot of HP. Is it boss time now? Yes. Exactly, Kylan. Hello. Pet the dragon, run from Ram. Hey HK, hope you're doing well. So this boss seems to have some Ow. Oh yeah, I remember I figured that out in my when I was in here anyway to get my picture. Apparently that gravity there, which slows you a lot, it cuts your HP in half consistently. So on that account, there's no reason for me to like actively go out of my way to get full HP to avoid that, because it seemed to cut my HP in half, like my current HP in half. Indeed, I believe it's pretty common that in Final Fantasy games in general, gravity cuts the HP of the target in half, specifically. Ow. Why did I walk into that? I'm relatively certain that it doesn't pull me in, so maybe I didn't have to do that. In some translations it's called demi. Oh yeah, well yeah, exactly. If I remember correctly, yeah, if I remember correctly, in Tactics Advanced, Time Mages had demi. I believe they also had a spell called Quarter or something like that, which of course was half as strong. Can't remember if it was straight up called Quarter, but it was called something weirdly on the nose like that. How long does that stay? I wonder if that just stays around. If it does, then it's better if I just get rid of it. How tough has the dungeon been so far? Well, we are at the first boss, and it isn't too bad. It's just like a healing check, you could say. That's at least what it feels like, and Warrior can keep up, so it isn't too demanding. We had a pack that had mobs that basically had the coin counter mechanics from Aurum Vale, and also had the Chimera's Dragon's Voice from Cotter's Cry, like in the same big pack. So like that was complicated, but it wasn't like threatening. But we have just started. I did, however, notice that the mobs don't, like, some of the mobs hit, like, they need to go to the gym. They weren't hitting very hard. There we go. First boss down. What do we get? We get loot. It's very nice, Chloe. I believe it sometimes also comes up in Palace of the Dead. Of course, it uses like different music from existing content, but it is like among the songs that appear. It feels like all of these mobs are not that strong. Like, they're strong enough that they'll outrun my raw intuition if I just take it. But they're not particularly threatening, weirdly. I wonder what's with that. How did Hell's Lid go? Oh, we did that. We discovered that the last boss, while it has a DPS check, it doesn't one-shot you if you fail it. And it only comes up once. So we beat it first try. Very weird that it wasn't a one-shot. But it was like a very big hit, so there's a possibility that, like, if you don't see it coming, it could kill you outright. I don't think I needed to use Equilibrium there in retrospect. And there was a time when I was doing Drowned City of Scala as expert roulette. Like, that was fun, but like at some point it stops being like big, new and fancy. Right now, I was also doing Swallow's Compass as expert roulette. Is so much so that I got acquainted with like tricks I would use. I wonder if that door would have opened if I just ran at it. Oh well. I learned tricks to optimize for specific jobs. Like using Paladin's Clemency to build enmity on mobs right when they spawn in the final boss in Swallow's Compass. Tricks like that. Because that was sometimes a problem that I would see in my groups. So I just use Clemency on myself and generate healer enmity with that. Trying to push a little bit to get through faster when the mobs are just blobs of HP, but they don't really do that much. Then there's no reason for me to kite like they can do something when they really can't. Oh yeah, that is true. The next boss uses stuff from the Warring Triad. I do remember seeing that when I was in here to take the picture for the thumbnail, and was like, I had this feeling that maybe that boss is going to be really, really hard. But we'll see. Right now, in fact. Look, it stands just like, what's his name from Circus Tower. Oh. 8,000. We can manage that. And a Citadel Buster. Nice. I guess this was when they hadn't figured out that the big smart move was to give it 4 legs. Is that a knockback? That's mildly annoying. I should keep Onslaught for that. Just 1. Right, that's the 8,000 hit. It hasn't started doing anything special yet. So now is when it starts getting scary. What? What? How much do you expand? Relax. That's mildly concerning. Oh, here it comes. How much? Oh. And that's like 5,000. Well, like 7,000 maybe. What? We can at last tip the scales in our favor. Nice. Can you bring equilibrium? A bleed. Another bleed? I don't know how that is so related to Sophia. I'll be honest. When I think Sophia's fight, a random bleed isn't the thing that I think of. But maybe that was like what made sense. What they could use. Marked with ice. I think I'm supposed to stand here. Also very true, Aridel. That is a pretty good teaser for Small Kai's trial adventure coming up soon. Oh. Are we just doing it in reverse now, or what? You say it will keep the enemies guessing, but you are aware that you're literally announcing what you're doing, right? You are realizing that, right? Oh, they'll never guess what I'm doing next. Now, let me start using Zurvan. How could they know? How could they possibly know? It's usually when I see a stack marker that is like the most concerning thing when soloing these things, because you can never be sure how strong the stack marker is. Echo OP, please nerf. I don't think we have Echo here. Although I haven't turned it off, but it doesn't say that we have it, I'm pretty sure. Hey, Eleven. Hope you're doing well. Oh, that gave me reduced immunity. Interesting. Dunk. Let me check the start of the dungeon. No, it does not say anything. Oh, that's what you meant, 11. Right. I thought you were talking about like the game mechanic Echo, which gives you more stats. You're right. to some degree, I do believe that it is believed that because of what we've seen the Echo be able to do, like on Frodola, that being able to see the mechanics in like the telegraphs and stuff are possibly explained by the Echo. So yeah, that you're right. No, look at the Magi. The thing is, we've also talked about this before, but the Echo, how it manifests, depends on the person. What that means is that Kryl has a different Echo than we do. So while we both have the Echo, our Echoes do something different. With what is it? Kryl can see the ether of the soul of people or something like that. Just like how Mikoto from the Ivalice Alliance Raid series and Bosha can see the future. We can see the past, and then also telegraphs apparently. Oh, no, Ymir. Y'shtola can see ether because she's basically using magic to see by viewing ether instead. We can also speak with animals. Kind of. If they actually speak a language, we can speak with them because our Echo lets us understand all languages for some reason. Try and get rid of the Chimera first. If I get any agency in that. I don't think everyone with natural Echo has that ability. Look at the Magi. I don't think it's everyone. I don't think it's everyone. If you Google the Echo Final Fantasy XIV, there should be a Final Fantasy XIV fandom page where most of the things that we've observed the Echo to be capable of doing is listed. If you want to like do a little bit of research, you could start with that. That's mean, Ymir. What's Aronwall's special Echo power? Hey Lawrence, hope you're doing well. So an interesting thing with these Minotaurs is, to my understanding, they will be smacking away at the glass to try and get out, but they only try if you're close to them. So if you move away from like their cages, you can avoid fighting them. I'm pretty sure you don't have to fight them at least. Bonk. It's particularly significant with this particular Minotaur because it has 3 exits. Did it just break the exit and then was like, well, he's not on that side, so I'll try and break out on this other side instead. Oh, that one just comes out immediately. It got the weak glass. Our natural echo fails to translate what Urianger is saying. He's I think the trick with Urianger is that he's speaking. Like it might be translating for you. The thing is that it's translating to exactly what you're saying. He meant to speak in old English. And sound mysterious. So your echo's trying its best. There is this side quest with like a very small yeti in Labyrinthos that where it comes up that you can understand it, but normally you don't exactly, you're not exactly known to speak with animals, right? I believe the logic there is explained exactly by, it's because the yeti is capable of like stringing together sentences so that like while it can't actually speak English, it is speaking in a way that can be like understood as English or something like that, or you know, whatever language your game is in. What if he's actually speaking Old English and the echo has a sense of humor, so it decides to translate it as early modern instead? Also, hey, Soul Silver. What if the echo has humor? In reality, everyone's speaking like extremely old, ancient English languages. Only Urianger is the only person who's speaking like normally. So the echo's just flipping it because it would be funny if it did. Oh. Right, I should have known that was a donut AoE. Are you kidding me? That is what we call a mean mechanic. Is that then a donut AoE or what is that? It is. Okay, well now we're getting somewhere, right? Who needs telegraphs? Speaking of the echo, I think I offended the echo because it just peaced out on me. Elegant gravity. Ow. They really like to cut your HP in half in this dungeon. I just realized that there was like a circle AoE in the center of that as I was moving. The Forborn Beast. Demi Ultima. How much damage is that? That is not a stack marker. Basically none. So, It got a damage boost from that. That's concerning. I hope that doesn't stack. Oh, here comes the circle AoE. I guess it won't like charge up again. So I don't think it will stack, but you never know with these things. Hey Kosari, hope you're doing well. How about some more Flare Star? Uh-oh. Does the first area not stop being like... Oh, it does. Okay, well, never mind then. Then I don't care. And this doesn't leave a field or anything, so I don't really care. Well, that was a lot more concerning than it had to be. Donut AoE. 1/3 of the way. Oh, here comes the light pillar. Does it target where I am or where I will be? That still does half of my HP, so there's no reason for me to react to that. I just have to like... Well, I don't have to proactively do anything. I just have to wait for it to resolve. And then heal after. If I keep equilibrium for that, I'll be in a better position. This guy, yeah, absolutely, Amokius, and you know the first rule of beating the boss encounter known as the Solo Warrior of Light is don't cast AoEs, like single target it down. You're recovering from a cold, Quasari. I hope you get well soon. Oh, light pillar. And we're halfway. And there's the flare star again. On top of the other one? But why are you putting them over there? You know, it would probably be more effective if you put them on me or something. Have you considered that? Have you thought about that? It would probably help. Like, the flare star attack hits pretty hard. That one isn't a waste. But this is unhelpful. Ha! That is a pretty funny strategy, Airdel. Just... Oh, it happens to have a really, really strong AoE that happens to be Earth. Oh, well, what if we just use that as our party-wide heal? Oh, but remember, Mokus, this is the ultimate beast. The one you fight in Monster Hunter is Behemoth, you know, from Labyrinth of the Ancients. These guys are never alone, I'm sure. There's a ninja over there. Techno Behemoth. I mean, you're probably right. We also have to remember that this is Allergan technology and Behemoth is Allergan technology of some sort. So maybe it's just that they decided to combine them. Like they were cooking something here, as you can see. They were getting somewhere. Oh, nice. Exactly 6,000. Nice hit. Nice shot. I think they just put a Tesla coil on top of a dog and called it a day. There you go. Let's go for lunch. Uh-oh. I should have seen that coming. Of course it has that. I don't know if I can make this. I used everything. Bruh. That... that was mean. How long was that fight? 7 minutes. Did anyone see what percentage of HP it started doing that? When it just went, oh, you didn't know I had an enrage? I'm assuming that it was a health threshold thing. Who puts an enrage time in a dungeon encounter? Well... I mean, there are DPS checks. Ultimus is built right from Sabik's heart, right? That the Allagans kind of try to emulate themselves as the Heart of Sabik made by the Allagan. Heart of Sabik is something that was found in the times of the Ancients. So it was not something anyone on Aetheris made, to my understanding. Is that a spoiler? I feel like it's so it lacks so much detail that it might not be super helpful. It doesn't really come up much in the main quest anyway. Pigman says, I think it's 10%, but got delayed by spending its time casting gravity. That sounds reasonable. Zane says, why do you love Final Fantasy XIV so much? It's a nice game. I just enjoy it. I don't think there's any like good explanation beyond that. The thing is, worth considering, Soul Silver, that drawing attention to the fact that it could be a spoiler is a much more clear spoiler than just letting it slide. If you just didn't say anything, then anyone who didn't realize it was a spoiler would just have been like, oh, okay, apparently this is something we know. For the most part. And then when they eventually find the truth, they'll just go, oh, that's what they meant. The reason why I'm not too concerned about a spoiler like that is because it's not like too MSQ relevant, if that makes sense. But you're right, technically it's a sort of spoiler. Yeah, don't worry about it. It seems like the Ultimate Beast has decided to flip the script on me. Now it's putting the flares over on the other side. That's why we're a bit late, Murphok? Well, I'm glad to see you now anyway. We just wiped for the first time because this guy has an enrage. Well, it has more like a surprise enrage at the end. that it just suddenly brings out, it seems. At around 10%. So when we reach like 20% or so, I should stop just stockpiling resources so that I'm ready to go full blast. We almost had it. Despite the unfair surprise attack, we almost had it. Exactly, Amokius. Pigman said that it looked like it was 8%, but the boss happened to be busy casting something at that very moment, so they might have just been delayed because of that. That's why I'm expecting it to be 10%. Ah, time for my extremely wasteful donut AoE. Haha, take this! You didn't do anything? Well, I'll get him next time. Yeah, it did. Was it 300,000 or 30,000? Did anyone see? If it did 30,000, then we would be able to survive it, but I'm pretty sure it said 300,000. And the reason why we would be able to survive it is because Thrill of Battle and Shake It Off combined would actually push me over that amount. 300,000, yeah, then we can't live it. There's just no chance. So we have to beat the DPS check. So on the off chance that it is a timer related enrage, because it could be, I am, you know, going as full blast as I can, and then when we start getting close, I'll like stall to make sure that I have everything I need to do as much damage as possible. I'm pretty sure it'll take me like a good minute or so with no cooldowns to go from 20% to 10. But it, you know, pretty good that I stocked some burst potions then, because I had a feeling we might need them. Spinning the boss around. Spinning the boss around. $300,000 damage. They really want to make sure you die from that. Yeah, Gazel said earlier that it looks like a cone AoE when the boss steps on his hind legs like that. The only reason why I assumed that it was going to be a donut AoE was because its other untelegraphed attack was a circle AoE. Like, usually they're opposites like that. That's fair, Pigman. I'm just making sure. Speaking of which, this is now. Like, it's just a matter of consistency, Gazel. If the first non-telegraphed attack had been something other than a circle AoE, then I would have been less confident that it would be a donut AoE. But simply because they tend to do these things where first they do a circle AoE and then they do a donut AoE, it's reasonably likely that you can assume it in that order, even when it's back in Stormblood. So it's just pattern recognition at this point. I feel like it's still going to get really close here. So now I've already spent everything, now I can just do combos. Nice! Hey Yazas, hope you're doing well. 49 minutes! We're getting better at this. I remember when we had Xenos in Alamigo, where we had to do multiple goes to figure out how to do enough damage to beat his check. Indeed, on to Swallow's Compass. That was very, very, very nice. I was actually expecting the second boss to be harder because of its stack marker, but weirdly, its stack marker did less damage than the triangle spread marker from the Ultima Beast there at the end. Okay, the Magic says it's a cone AoE for most enemies that use that skeleton. Fair enough. But is the lift right hand move that it also did usually a circle AoE from monsters that use that skeleton? I don't know, it just seemed logical to me that, oh, that is probably a donut AoE. Oh, I got a new card. I think it's an Echo's turning into a chicken. Yeah, my initial guess was also a right cleave, but then it did a circle AoE, and then I was like, well, then it has already like mixed up on us. Speaking of mix up, Swallow's Compass. That is an interesting question, Pikmin. I'm guessing maybe that the Final Fantasy VI Ultimate Beast might have like some sort of enrage or something like that. Maybe when it dies, it finishes with that or something. I wonder if the mobs in this room just like disappear if I leave. That would be really funny. Uh-oh. That's concerning. Oh, paralysis. Can I leave? Oh, okay, well, oh, it resets the big guy, but nothing else. Weird. Really weird. I keep getting these surprises of mobs that just reset for weird reasons when I do this. I'm pretty sure that the first boss in this dungeon, at least, is going to be pretty straightforward, because it's just a lot about weird positioning that can mess you up. Do you summon more water people, or is it? Oh, you do, or what? Oh, okay, fair. All right. That was not what I had in mind. Ball. Time for my signature move. Summons a bubble. Spinning around. Wait, it looks like he's attacking me without even facing me, so I don't think this does anything. The ultimate weapon was never the one that one guy has used. It was always bubble. Is this a weapon to surpass Metal Gear? Huh. Had an unblockable AoE mid-fight called Flare Star. Well, Flare Star hurt a lot. I could imagine that. Enjoy your evening, Soul Silver. Nano bubbles, son. You gotta pop a few bubbles. Gets a little silly when the mobs are having trouble, like just like casually beating you down. I'm just taking it pretty much. Oh, you didn't make it. Battle reset on my end. I hope you brought some potions. Like, just imagine this. They're like a 4-player party fighting a single warrior, and every time they're like, we almost got him, the warrior just goes whoop, full health. This is a normal frontline experience. Well, at least in frontline, the healing the warrior gets is based on how much damage it does. Wimdy! Lokathamaji said, does anyone know what language the Geomancer enemies are speaking when they pop the barriers up? What Geomancers? I'm not sure. Is it like Final Fantasy VI stuff? Or is it in Final Fantasy 14? I'm not sure what it is, but maybe someone else knows. The tall guys with the bells. These guys. They're the Sai Tai Sui. Right. Skibidi language. Hey, Zach. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. One of the things they say looks like this, written in chat. None shall trespass the heart of water. Nomaksaman Vanan. What? suddenly see him busting out a default Fortnite dance. Wow. They're speaking elemental. That could be. They're actually just saying, it's your boy, water elementals or something. So the water elementals come out to help your boy. I don't know. I think the idea of you fighting like of a boss in any context, just suddenly like dabbing on you or doing a default dance or something silly like that, like the idea of it is hilarious. It's your boy Ringle Dingle Man here with the element of air. Ringle Dingle Boy. Well, Ringle Dingle Man was what you said, but right. So the hard part here is that we have to not get hit by these exceptionally slow-moving orbs. I know, it's the hardest mechanic in the world. And also, don't look at that. Maybe they're saying that, but the Echo thinks it's too cringe. Like when you don't understand something an NPC says, it's actually because the Echo just goes, nah, I'm not translating that. One thing the Warrior of Light is weak to, cringe. Oh no, my only weakness. Ah! It's spawning them on me. See, the thing is, these orbs aren't like that scary, it's just that they give this debuff that makes you have less HP, which can make a following mechanic scary. I think they also hurt a bit, but it's mainly just because you don't want to risk it. When the warrior was underage, all swear words sounded like bleep. The Mother Crystal has a swear like a profanity filter. If the Echo blocked cringe, Van Daniel would become invisible. No, I think the reason I think that's the reason why Van Daniel was so effective, was because he hit us on our weak spot. Honestly, I think Van Daniel was pretty interesting when you think about it, even though the way he's like sold is like as like just super evil guy. Just super duper evil guy, it can feel like sometimes. I do think that he is more interesting than some people give him credit for. Actually, funny story. I'm not going to like go into more detail than in the final fight before the credits of Endwalker. So before the the solo fight. I'll not get into more detail than that. I actually had someone cosplaying as Van Daniel in my party. By random chance. Like, they just happened to randomly queue in with me. And their character was also named Van Daniel. Which was really ironic. Depresso Expresso. Sounds like a Harry Potter spell. Depresso Expresso. You just get sad immediately. You just get really, really sad. Yeah, so my expectation that this fight was going to be easy was probably not too shocking. This is going to be a very, very weird pull. Coming through, excuse me, coming through, excuse me. I think the River Ray has a donut AoE. So I actually want to get rid of that one fastest. Hey Gleaming, hope you're doing well. So a really funny twist in this pack is if I need some space, like to recover, I can just let myself get taken by the flood here. Just skedaddle. Just use it as like a fast lane to safety. One v one me, bro. Yum. Oh yeah, there's a massive Morble in the next pack for some reason. A massive Morble, but it's not named that. Oh, that's not a Morble, that's a Jinmenju. Everyone knows that. Oh no. I thought I was going to get knocked into the bad breath there. Send me! Whee! Oh, that resets him again. Wonderful. What a cool guy. What a cool guy. Whee! It's obviously a Stromper. Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Whee! Wow. Oh, right. Inner release blocks it. I have been focusing this mobile guy all this time, and it's not the first thing to die. Not even close. That's an overripe artichoke. Don't give them too much. They'll become alive and breathe at you. You don't want that. This is also a great example of sometimes people ask, how can you know if a mob is like immune to stuns or sleep or crowd control of any kind? The answer is usually you have to check. This guy, for some reason, is immune to stuns. He just is. It's just, well, he's a mini-boss of some sort, so it kind of makes sense. But it doesn't really make that much sense, does it? Like, he's the only guy in the dungeon that resets if you walk too far away. And he's immune to stuns. For some reason. Second boss, do you have a stack marker? I think you do. Well, that's a waste of time, at least. Are you gonna do the other side next? Ah, yeah, of course you are. Do we flip it over to the other side again now? No. Uh-oh, that's a chasing circle AoE. I placed that wrong. Flap. That guy is actually a mid-boss that went out of his arena for a smoke. This guy or the Geomancer guy? Good thing is we don't have to remind you to stay hydrated in this fight. Yeah, you know. Good point. Remember living liquid from Alexander raids? He's grown up now. He's gotten bigger. Is this just how the arena's gonna be now? My brother works as ad for Seiryu. Have you met my brother? I feel like this is the second or third time in just this stream where I've like seen a mechanic stick around for quite a while, gone, is this how it's going to be for the rest of the fight? And then like getting used to the fact that that's how it's going to be, and then 3 seconds later the mechanic disappears. I did it on the Ultima Beast when it put down the fire AoEs. at the very least. And I also asked with the gravity wells on the first boss. But I think it was actually, they were actually going to stick around in the case of the gravity wells. Looks like the bosses ran out of new ideas. I just really like standing on this side of the boss. It is quite ominous how it grows, but then you realize that it stops at some point. Hey Malice, hope you're doing well. Hydratey boy. This is what happens when you drink your glass of water. Man, folks, this warrior is probably the only non-Blue Mage class that can solo stuff, right? Not true. If you go back far enough in this solo challenge stream series, you'll realize that Scholar is surprisingly good at it. And Gunbreaker is also pretty strong at it. And in certain level ranges, like really low level, Dark Knight can be pretty effective as well. Sage can too. It's just that it's like a little bit of a mix between Scholar and Sage, depending on what it is that you need. Yeah, I soloed Castrum with Scholar. And I soloed Aurum Vale with Scholar. I also soloed Sastasha with Scholar, but I've heard people have soloed Sastasha with Black Mage, so, you know. Scholar has EOS, so it's not solo. I feel like that would be an unfair way to compare it. It's more like there's one player and no, like, additional NPCs. That would be a pretty funny mix-up, Gazel. They could also just have the, for once, just one time, have a wall boss have like an attack where it says right or left, and then just have it be your right instead of the boss's right. Yeah, Warrior is particularly insanely good at soloing content once you get raw intuition. But if Warrior can't do it for some reason, which is unlikely because of how insanely good raw intuition is, my go-to would be Scholar, because there's no tank that can do it better than Warrior. But if a tank can't do it, then the second best option is maybe a healer can. And of the healers, Scholar has the most effective toolkit for that, because they can kite things. You see how much I kite sometimes with Warrior on these streams? Scholar can do more DPS while kiting than Warrior can. I mean, Amokius, remember that Soul Eater also heals. It's just your 1-2-3 combo. The reason why Dark Knight is relatively strong in this... Oops, I got a debuff I didn't want. The reason why Dark Knight is relatively good in the lower level ranges is specifically because Soul Eater makes Dark Knight's like sustained healing better than Warriors. Then Warrior gets Thrill of Battle and then it flips. But Dark Knight has better burst than Warrior, and can burst without stopping their sustained healing. So, like, there's ups and downs to each of them. But people tend to forget that tanks have, like, healing as part of their 1-2-3 combos, and yes, that is a feature because Paladin doesn't have that. So it's important to denote that, and Dark Knight has one of the better ones. Warrior has the 3rd best one, with Paladin having the 4th best one. Did the tornado hit the bird? Okay, that's a... Ha! That's hilarious. I can use this guy's spells against him. It is quite weird that Blood Weapon doesn't have anything to do with healing, but of course it does have something to do with the blood gauge. But it is a little bit weird that it is like that. Oh, that would be so funny if he could hit himself with it. That would be so funny. Oh well. I mean, Gleaming Blood Weapon restores 600 MP per swing, so that's 3000 over like 5 GCDs. Your natural regen is 200 every 3 seconds, so it's a little surprising that you feel that it is very little. But I get what you mean. It isn't like wham 3000 MP. Oh, just a random tank buster for nearly 9000 damage. Nice. That's pretty good. Nice start. This guy has a DPS check, I believe. I'm pretty sure he has a DPS check. Can't remember when it comes up. So to avoid having to stress about it, I think I will save resources now. Exactly, I was thinking of the like the bunch of mobs, John, or our John. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Uh-oh. How much? How much are we talking here? Oh, that... Well... Slightly more than the tank buster, I suppose. I'm guessing it's at a specific HP threshold, but I know it's coming. The short end. Whap. Unless this maybe Beast Tamer could have a whip, who knows? Well, the only thing we know about Beast Masters in Final Fantasy XIV is that in Boja we fight a bunch of them, and they use one-handed axes and a shield. We don't know if that is going to apply to Beastmasters when they potentially come to fight, like, to the players, but we do know that there are Beastmasters in the game, and they use a one-handed axe and a shield. We don't know what the limited job is going to be, look at the Magi, but let's just say that the most recent, like, FanFest thing, they asked, like, what they were, like, what people were thinking, like, what were they thinking, and the community yelled out loud, like, Beastmaster. A few said Puppet Master, and let's just say that they didn't give us reason to not think that would be it, based on their reaction to the to the community saying they wanted that. There's a really good chance that that is what it's going to be. But you're right, we don't know. Based on the way that they brought it up, Lokatamachi, I think there's a reasonable chance we'll get a mix. Like something that works a little bit like both. Maybe. Oh boy. I'm guessing that it was at 50% all along, and I've just been, like, stalling this entire time, expecting it to come way sooner. I personally think that Beastmaster would be a great addition, simply because much of the, like, pet jank can be entirely dealt with simply by all of the because it's a limited job, it's fine if things are weird and janky and awkward. Like, it doesn't matter as much as when you say, for example, with I don't know if we can make this. I think I'm falling behind. Maybe I'm not. Wow, that was close. And I had I even used my tincture. Like, I spent everything on that. Right, so now we save Onslaught to deal with that specific mechanic. We do not say close, we say calculated. Uh-oh. I don't know what to do about this. Oh, there's no knockback. You're not amused by the man with stick? Now there's two of them. Oh. Alright. The stack marker was weirdly underwhelming. Now I remember. We are Sun Wukong. Just standing in the middle just in case it decides to mix things up on me and go, oh, now it's a knockback. Around 6,000. A job called Gun Mage. Is that from Final Fantasy 13? Just a guess. And if you're sitting there wondering why are you attacking them equally, it's because he splits again if you focus on one. So I just, like, there's no reason to do it differently than this. I don't think there's any benefit to, like, killing off a specific one of them. The 13 does have a job system. It's just, like, more rigid. Right. It usually helps if you're actually looking at which one is casting the thing. But Gun Mage in 10.2 also makes sense, since I believe one of the starting jobs is Gunner. I did it again. I'm pretty sure they still have names, Malice. "41 minutes. That's 7 minutes faster than the other one, but I mean, this one didn't, like, give us a surprise enrage. Right, let's see then. Gun Mage. Yeah, that does sound like Blue Mage in a way. And it's 10.2. It's only 10.2, and then, like, some spin-off stuff it appears in. Right, then we just have Saint Mokiani's Arboretum left, and then we can circle back to trying and doing the main dungeons of Stormblood post-game, where we're just missing the Burn and Gimlet Dark. Do you think Blue Mage would have been more popular if it had gun instead of scepter? Nice, Cap. Hope you're doing well. Do you think people would be mad that Blue Mage was stealing Machinist's Thunder by also having Gun? The lack of stats on the weapon significantly more noticeable. Well, not necessarily, because the way Blue Mage works is that all of its stats, like, it just scales better with intelligence to compensate. So they could just make the gun mage gun have basically no stats, and then just have it scale better with dexterity if that's what they wanted. Or intelligence, it would be a gun mage, remember? It would also be pretty funny if it was a gun mage that they made it so that it could use both ranged physical gear and like caster DPS gear, and depending on like what stats you focused on, specific actions would be stronger. That would be pretty unique. That's not to say that the Blue Mage isn't already perfectly unique enough. What if Scholar's Fairy is blue and is in color and is holding a gun? Wait a minute, I think we've already done that recently. That's the joke. The music in this dungeon is really weird. It sounds like a different dungeon's music, but just like weirdly muffled in a way. A book tank. Finally, we could have. If only we had book tank, then we would finally have be able to make book group, full book group. That was very flashy for just a random mob in a dungeon. I wonder if anyone has seen that action resolved recently. If only Blue scaled better with Vitality. If only Blue Mage didn't have cast times on all of their defensive cooldowns. It's the muddy dungeon. It's a little bit funny here at the start of the dungeon. It seems like a lot of mobs have this like muddied up buff that makes them take less damage because they're like caked in mud. But right now I'm pretty sure there's no way for me to interact with that. So it's just like, oh, interesting. What do you want me to do about it? Almudron is hiding somewhere. That sounds about right. Just jumps out of the water with a giant mud ball. Just one-shots me. Blep. Isn't this like a weirdly creepy version of? I feel like it sounds like the music in like the Dravanian hinterlands or something like that. It would, Merfolk, but the fact that you're ranged would still mean that you would have a massive advantage in positioning. Like if a boss uses a circle AoE, you can just leave. You can just walk out and just cast at it. Like the thing is, a ranged tank isn't going to be ranged all the time. I feel like that, like we've talked about ranged tanks as a concept here a few times, and it feels like what people usually miss the point is that it's not that the tank is going to be ranged and so have to be at range. Like you go into melee range as a summoner because it's practical, and you're a ranged job, so it doesn't matter. So a tank would do the same thing. You just have the advantage of being able to like just stand wherever's most convenient for everyone and just stay there. Oh. Is that a chaser? Nope. Shouldn't do that. I expected more. It's going to be like half of my HP when it lands cleanly. Devour? Oh. I should keep Onslaught for this. I get what you mean, Malice. It's a pretty common thing people want for, like a Spellblade, basically. It's like a common one that people ask for. The problem is that it's nearly impossible to find a mix where it doesn't just boil down to one thing or the other. Like, let me put it like this. If you had melee attacks and ranged attacks, and you needed to switch between them, like to maintain 2 resources, then the way you would play around it is you would go into melee range and just cast your spells from there. You have no reason to leave. So it'll just it would just be reverse red mage. That's the common problem with these things. Is that it would just become reverse red mage. And I think red mage is one of the better incarnations of Spellblade. One way they could make sure that you would leave melee range would be to like say, oh, but there's a minimum range on your spells. But let me just say, as someone who knows how Hunter worked in World of Warcraft years ago, that'll just feel really awkward and janky. And you also probably don't want to make it so that, oh, you have to be at a specific range to get max, like full value out of your attacks, because that will also just feel very awkward. Like, as far as optimization is concerned, if an attack does more damage from longer range, then people will see it as the only way to use it. I know that sounds really, like, excessive, but there will be a significant amount of players that will view it like that. But you could do it in a lot of ways. I just personally think, having seen attempts on Spellblade-esque jobs, before that red mage is one of the better ones. That doesn't mean that you have to like it. But it is one of the better ones, in my opinion. I get what you mean, Malice. The thing is, to want something doesn't mean that you need to know how to make it. Like, you're saying, I don't feel like red mage is it. That's fine. You can have some ideas of how you think it would be, but that isn't a requirement to have an opinion, right? You can absolutely say, I don't like red mage, but I wanted something that is similar to red mage, but not red mage. That is totally understandable. I came to Final Fantasy XIV myself because of red mage, and I liked it. Like, I thought it was perfect. And yes, as Gazel says, red mage stays in melee range because there's no reason to leave. Hey Zeb, hope you're doing well. I think there's a reasonable chance that we can finish this dungeon and maybe have time to check out the burn. Look how the Magi mentions the 1 damage autos on Black Mage. Did you know that Black Mage actually does more than 1 damage at lower levels? Nope, look at the Magi, it's something with strength scaling. Basically, as you level up, when you reach level 50, that's around when Black Mage's auto attacks actually peak. Because after that, you just need more strength to get value out of your strength. So Black Mage actually, like, you know how at max level you have like 400 crit rating as a baseline? There is also a baseline of strength you'd need to get like value out of your strength. But Black Mage gets so little strength on level up that they fall behind. Like, they fall behind the minimum threshold, so they basically do less damage as they level up. Because they need more stats to get the same power. I'm not saying that Black Mages hit exceptionally hard. It's simply because you don't have, like, you just don't, it just doesn't scale well. The book is mightier than the stick. The book is mightier than the rapier for some reason. And that was the first boss. That was surprisingly easy. It's been a while, I feel like, since I've done this dungeon, so I'm not actually sure what to expect. The only thing I seem to remember is that all these moddy guys, they suggest that there's going to be a part where you can clean them. And I do seem to remember there was a dungeon like that. Don't remember if it was this one, though. Magi says Summoner has enough instant attacks to actually auto attack. Black Mage can auto attack just fine if you go into melee range. The weird thing with auto attacks is that if you read the attack delay on your weapons, that is actually your auto attack swing timer. Whenever you start casting something, you add the cast time minus half a second because of slide casting to your swing timer. So if Black Mage casts Fire 4, then you have to wait an additional 2.3 seconds for your next auto attack to come through. But you will still auto attack in between your casts, whether you're using instants or not. That's just because it's usually nearly no damage at the level range where it would matter. People don't care. But yeah, you don't actually have to use instant attacks to be able to cast. Or, well, to be able to auto-attack. You can try book smacking IRL, you will know it hurts. Oh yeah, I have a pretty big book myself. It's very effective. Just ask your stoner. Dunk. Oh, now he really wants to get that roly-poly cast. I don't even know what it does. He's become the super spammer. He finally found his spell button, just spamming. Excuse me, coming through, excuse me, hello. Is the boss coming soon? Yes. Somehow it doesn't surprise me at all that the Culinarian's Frying Pan does more damage than Red Mage and Black Mage auto attacks. It doesn't take much to beat the Black Mage after all. Oh, that was what was happening. I was like really confused, like why the mobs suddenly changed shape. And it's because the roly-poly thing changes mobs into other mobs. Weird. Also, these mobs are exceptionally huge and big. Like, I'm not even like spending down, like I'm trying to keep as much uptime as I can, just wailing at them. Yet they just keep going. Like they're taking about as much time as packs that I've done, like been way cheesier with and just kited around. Recipe books. They could be math books. They tend to be huge as well. Sometimes. Like a good old calculus book. They're big. Or a dictionary, that's a good one. A law book is also a good idea. I have no idea who this is. I cannot remember this boss. At all. That is quite confusing, Amokius. I feel like they miscalculated that and just decided to stick to their guns on that, which is really silly. Technically, the argument that they could make, like, if you think about it, you use... Oh, this sounds familiar. This looks familiar, doesn't it? Very recent as well. Actually, let me see if I can knock back immunity that. Ow. Okay, so it works exactly the same as in Lunar Subterrane. Interesting. But the argument is, so you apply Death's Design. You use 1 GCD for that. It will be up for 12 GCDs, okay? So if you don't realize that, then like you use it. If you only get to like spend, say, 9 GCDs and then the mob is dead anyway, then Death's Design might not have been worth it. That is a reasonable argument you could make. But here's the thing. Shadow of Death is your weakest attack, but it still does damage, which means that you're not using a GCD only to apply the debuff. You are also doing damage, which means that it will have paid itself home in like a few GCDs. And then also on AoE, it gives you a kickback of resources, right? But the argument for it, I can see how they might get to that conclusion. It's the wrong conclusion, but I can see like how they might reason their way to that. It's just completely wrong. Let me just remove my knockback immunity just in case. I'd rather it goes the knockback goes through. Yeah, like Death's Design is great. So like that one I like. That's just I can understand why you would just like at a loss for words, because you can't possibly explain them in a way that they'll accept while you're in the middle of a dungeon. Very inconvenient time this mechanic keeps coming up. But it like the thing is with something like Death's Design, the only way you could come to the conclusion that it is not worth using, right? Just at face value, you have to first assume that the game is not well designed and some jobs have useless actions. Now, how many jobs in Final Fantasy XIV have actually useless, like, attacks in Final Fantasy XIV? Because I'm pretty sure the answer is 0. Is this Lakshmi's smaller sister? Lakamu? Celestial Revolution. It's not good, but it isn't useless. Now, Burning no Jutsu, on the other hand, is also not useless because it's cute. The thing is, Boni no Jutsu and Celestial Revolution are attacks that are designed to teach you shouldn't do this. Like, they are intentionally bad. Death's Design, on the other hand, is a completely different thing, right? There's also Undraw, yeah, that is a pretty good example. Oh, that goes through knockback immunity. Interesting. But yeah, for the most part, and also Undraw is actually not an attack. Like, just to add to that. Shield Bash isn't useless. It is a niche attack, but it is useful. You just need to know when to use it. And Shield Bash is technically mitigation, yes. I have saved awkward pulls with a healer that wasn't ready for it in Bravelock's Longstop, for example, where Paladin doesn't really have anything. Like, you just have very basic cooldowns. So how was Shield Bash useful? Well, on account of me not having any more defensive cooldowns, I just went through and stunned everything one at a time. That was mitigation. That is not, like, low blow can't do that. So by that singular example, I have proven to you, hopefully, in Amokius, that Shield Bash isn't useless. For something to be useless, it has to have no use cases. Time to reslot it on my level 90 Paladin. I mean, if you can find reasons to use it, it is good when it is good. It's just that it is not very good. Like, in most cases, you can't find anything particularly helpful. But it's not useless. There's no cause to use Fuma Shuriken. Oh, there is a case to use Fuma Shuriken. You're level 34. Flamethrower, it does actually do more damage than Auto Crossbow and Scattergun. But its range is short compared to them, so it is easier for it to miss targets. And you can't turn, so people have decided like that it's just not good because a lot of people use it badly. You can also use it to hit a single, take a single time as the boss comes down, which can sometimes sneak in like a free 80 potency. Hey John, hope you're doing well. Flamethrower is a separate cooldown of its own. It's a 10-second channel, but it does 200 potency every 2.5 seconds by virtue of doing 80 potency every second. And you have to compare it to Auto Crossbow and Scattergun. Yeah, exactly. Like, the thing is, if there is a single reason that you would find an action helpful, then it has a purpose, technically. But the thing this person is looking for when they're like, oh no, Shadow of Death is actually not worth the animation, they think they've discovered that there is this useless GCD in their toolkit. But that is not the case. Could you imagine if Reaper was released with a useless button in its toolkit? Could you imagine that? Wouldn't that be weird? most of the more useless buttons or less helpful buttons tend to be so old that like they predate like Shadowbringers. Thank you. Thank you, Gleaming. Okay, guess we're not doing that then. Laughs in Summoner Physic. That is actually a good example. That is actually a pretty good example. Physic is okay at really low levels. But it is clearly one of the worst actions in the game. By a significant margin. Wait, can I pull more? Is there more to be pulled? There is. Why am I stopping here? That is a heal Silver Mint, but just because like that isn't actually particularly relevant because Red Mage also has the cure. So it like, yeah, it is a remnant of it having to like have like a mix of heals and attacks because it became both Scholar and Summoner. But the reason why Physic is bad is because for some reason Summoner's version of Physic scales with Mind and not Intelligence. That is the reason why Physic is terrible. It's because it for some reason it scales with Mind. How to pronounce the name of this dungeon again? I don't know. I say Saint Mokianis Arboretum, but I don't know if that is actually correct. I suppose that's better than having no idea how to pronounce it. I can also say that if I didn't have the name of the dungeon right in front of me right now, I would probably have thought or remembered it as Saint Mokane's Arboretum. I could just flip the I and the I and the A. The cure isn't useless. It is actually a good a good cooldown in a desperate not a cooldown, a good tool in a desperate situation. And then also you can use it to prepare a dual cast when there's nothing to attack. You like, there are some incredibly unhelpful spells in at face value, but you can even find a use for repose and sleep because they can be used as like scuffed interrupts. But there is a difference between a tool being useful and a tool being useful enough that you'll need to have it on your bars. Like, for example, Shield Bash, there are situations where it is good and helpful, but they're rare. And usually require some, like, specific context for it to become helpful. Man, this music in this dungeon is so weird. Reprise is also a pretty good example of a really difficult to use action. It is helpful, once again, it is helpful, but the cost is insanely high for what it offers you. I can't remember the mechanics for this boss, but I feel like this is one of those bosses that have complicated enough mechanics that you need to respect it. And I feel like there's something here. You need to make sure that it and yourself don't get hit by the splashes from down below. I'm pretty sure the Quagmire leaves like areas on the circles if you let it get hit by that. I don't know what this does. The speakers are inside the boss. Ah, well that explains a lot. Thank you, Tate. What? All right then. Huh. How about some more ads? Blap. Blap. I think that should do it. What do they do? Feculent Flood. See, the thing that concerns me is I'm pretty sure there is a mechanic that, like... Yeah, that. Uh-oh. Where if that the platforms can, like, become permanently bad. And I don't know which one it is, or if it even is. So I'm, like, just trying to play really, really carefully. Mudsling. Oh, right, that was the initial tank buster. Never mind. This is a new type of flan. It's the mud flan. Does God have a flan for me? I'm just going to let that happen. It didn't seem to really do anything when it exploded. It's simply too hard for me to do anything about it. And it doesn't do very much damage. There's no reason to worry. That might be right, guys. I can't remember. That's why I'm like just trying to be extra careful if I can. This is like the kind of boss, like as far as I remember, where it has a lot of things, but the fight can go extremely wrong, and you still beat it. So you never truly learn what you did wrong, because you didn't wipe. That was an incredibly wasteful fell cleave. I really wanted on the opposite end, just in case it matters at all. I just wanted to be consistent. Like, I don't know if the thing that happens after this flood, where the slime becomes big, whether the mechanic is actually like a proximity AoE, and I'm making a huge, and that I was making a huge mistake by assuming anything else. So that's why I keep pushing it to the same spot instead of like just pushing it to the most convenient one. I can't remember if the boss gets a benefit from getting hit by the splashes here. That's also why I try to keep the boss up on the platform with me. But I'm just trying to play overly cautious. In retrospect, I could have just played super aggressively at the start of the fight and just, you know, learned from my mistakes. But I do want to see if I can get it first try. One third left. I'll send him over there. Hopefully it's good enough. We'll see if it was a good or a bad idea in a moment, I guess. Is really tanky. Does not seem to be a proximity AoE. Wow. This is like, I've talked about how sometimes in these solo challenges, some bosses are like, you've already won extremely early because it turns out the boss has nothing it can stop you with. This is one of those fights. And this boss is just unreasonably chunky. Like, it has way more health than it has any right to have. And the fact that it steals a GCD from me every so often where I have to like push other things into position certainly doesn't help either. What are you saying, HK? Are you saying that ground types are resistant to steel types? We're almost there. Then the boss just pops. Just has like a super fast enrage at 1% HP. Boonk. We did the thing! I thought this was that I was actually expecting that boss to be a problem. This boss is a poetic allegory to these mysterious dirt stains you can't get out of your stuff. Thank you. I think I am surprised that it was that easy. I had expected this dungeon to be like really awkward on account of me having done it like maybe 3 times. But apparently just kinda remembering the boss and then just guessing seems to work pretty well. The problem with these bosses is that they are in a range where if I had done it at minimum item level, I don't think I would have been able to do it. But doing it synced makes them easy enough that it is no major problem. And the main issue is that they have an extremely high amount of HP. It's actually a mud weapon boss. There's another health bar after that. You finally kill it and it just pops, and then there's another different boss on like inside it. You just do the final hit, and there's just randomly a dragon. Like a really big goblin. Right, I think we actually have time to go for the burn. But first I will be right back. And then we'll go for the burn. The burn! Quick, queue up for FFXIV Extreme so it really feels the burn. Oh boy. I have done FFXIV Extreme synced once. It was not a great run. But we somehow managed. Silverman said, I thought reprise was meant to be used during movement, but I can just swift cast or acceleration instead. Yeah. So the reason why reprise is like really weird and why it's really difficult to put into specific use case is because, well, if you had to move for a while with Red Mage, then you have Swiftcast and 2 accelerations. That already like tides you over for like 7.5 seconds of movement. If you have like 50 of each mana type, then you can do a full melee combo, which takes like 12.5 seconds. So like with all that combined, you have like 20 seconds of movement when you need it. Which means that Red Mage rarely will need reprise. The reason why you might need reprise is if you don't have 50 of each mana type or you've already used Swiftcast and Acceleration. Which in most cases means that it's the backup solution, right? Using reprise is better than not doing anything for a GCD. That's how good it is. It's better than not doing anything. And the cost of it is reasonable enough that despite it costing like 10% of a melee combo, it is better than not doing anything. But in like most cases, if you know you have to be on the move, then you will just have prepared for that. You'll just have like delayed your melee combos that you can use it during the movement bit, or you'll have saved acceleration or swift cast, or you will have repositioned in advance. Like, you can work around it. So reprise is like a backup button, which means that you rarely will ever need it. Like that is pretty much the problem with it, is that it is a backup solution. Right, burn time. So I'm pretty sure that we can't actually beat the final boss in this dungeon, but we will try at least to reach it. And then maybe we can beat it. But I want to see if the specific mechanic I don't think we can beat. Like, I want to reach that. If we can. That is the target. That is the thing. Like, I talked about earlier that I did basically everything in Stormblood that you could do solo. Like dungeons, I soloed with Blue Mage, but the one dungeon that I didn't bother trying to solo for the spell was specifically the burn, because I was reasonably confident that I couldn't do it. You also have to remember, Blue Mage has to let the mechanic resolve and just eat it with Diamondback to get the spell. And yeah, that is also Dramokius. I don't think there's anything you can do to avoid it if it just chooses to freeze someone. But I'm pretty sure all of the mechanics that freeze someone are avoidable. I'm pretty sure that there isn't one that just forces you to get frozen. It's quite annoying. Like, these mobs just barely have the power to, like, push me, so I have to use a heal before Raw Intuition, but just before. Oh, those are ranged. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Can I make it? I don't think I made it. I did, apparently? Okay. We take those, I guess. Ooh, these pulls are really hard, because I don't think I can, like, kite very much in this area. As long as none of the mechanics hit me, you don't get frozen. Yeah, see, that's the thing that I'm concerned about, is I'm pretty sure that failing the DPS check mechanic in the middle counts as that, and then you get frozen. I think. I'm not 100% certain, given that Blue Mages kind of have to just take it. So maybe it doesn't count? We'll see. I do remember that the boss hits in, like, it has a lot of damage output. So that also matters. Oh right, the extra mob here. Fun. You killed most of the pack. Would be a shame if we randomly added an extra mob to it, wouldn't it? Their AoE is called Molar Whack. Because it's like a mole. Bottom ching. Exactly, Amokius. That is absolutely correct. I had to do that when I was getting this spell on Blue Mage. That's why I wanted to bring a team of Blue Mages, because I didn't believe that you could just do it alone. With Blue Mage. So... in retrospect, you probably can now. But that is part of the reason why I'm like, maybe you can't with a warrior, but maybe you can. It sounds like I just need to just get good, right? Wow, tank busters feel so underwhelming because it's like, well, this attack is supposed to be survived by a tank. So I just kind of take it. Something that might be concerning about this, I can't remember if more crystals spawn. But if they don't, then I'll have a problem. I guess they do then. It seems to be the case, Tepsia. I just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember that it had that thing where it just deletes all of them. Come back here, you. In that case, as long as it keeps supplying me with more crystals, then I'm good. This fight is already won. Unless it has some attack I've never seen before. Yeah, that sounds about like pretty good examples of something that would surprise me. Amokius, even better than that. After a certain amount of time, the boss suddenly casts Raw Intuition. Does exactly what I'm doing. Could you imagine? Just how demoralizing that would be. The ceiling finally caves in. Yeah, finally it has taken too many shards out of the ceiling. There's no longer a ceiling. You thought a scorpion couldn't have a job? You'll be even more surprised to know that this is my night job. My day job is being a carpenter. Yeah, you'd think I'd be like a blacksmith or like a goldsmith with all these crystals, right? Wrong. You might be thinking that with the sheer lack of trees in the area, that it would be hard to be a carpenter. Don't worry about it. What's up, Malice? What do you mean? Scorpion casts groundwork. Yeah. I just buy my logs on the market. I don't need to have botanist. I'll just be a carpenter. Are you aware of how much people are paying for all these woodcrafts in a desert? Really? What do you expect? Huh? I think one of the mobs sucked me in. But I'm not sure for what purpose, because it didn't seem like it had like a proper follow-up of any kind. Scorpion successfully synthesizes oak chair. Ah, fair enough, Malice. It did certainly confuse me. It was super effective. I was just doing a few extra hours at the crystal mine, and then a tiny lizard, literally too angry to die, came in and beat me up. Oh, it's okay. He just comes home and explains it to his wife. His scorpion wife. Oh, that was the point. Sucked me in and exploded. Now, that would have been a lot more effective if it actually killed me. Scorpion was just trying to level Disciple of the Land. He forgot to use sneak. Oh. Poor gatherer crafter Scorpion. Oh, now I feel bad. Now that we've given it a backstory. I was just trying to make a living as a carpenter. It would help if I could, like, gather my own stuff. I was just working on that. The one time in months I've been out the door at all outside of going to the market, and I just get trounced by an angry lizard. Look, where am I going in life? Never humanize your enemies. That sounds quite brutal. He might have become a crafting mentor. Aww. I really do love the burn. Oh, they almost had a combo there. One of them tried to suck me in just as the detonate happened. They almost had it. That was pretty good. Pretty good mob teamwork. They almost got it. But that is quite concerning with all the mobs with the AoE, is that they then add a mob that can suck you in. It's a defective drone. Greetings. The small angry lizard will see you now. Well, that's a mistake. An AoE against a single target, are you sure? $10,000. That's pretty good. It's such a silly mechanic. What kind of backstory can we give this one? It has children. Bruh. And the worst part is it just showed that it has children. Although it seems to be pretty indifferent itself towards using them in battle. He was tired of being used by heartless outdoor YouTubers, so he ran to an underground chamber in order to hide and protect his children. And then he was outsmarted because an indoor YouTuber came to fight him instead. How could he possibly have seen this coming? What? An ad face? What? Did any of you know that it had that? Show of hands. Because I certainly didn't. I don't think I've ever seen it spawn that mob before. That was the wife. Oh. Go, wife! I choose you! Who's also supporting the child? Oh boy. Bruh. Yeah, the question is whether he's throwing them at me or if they're throwing themselves out there. That does change some things, doesn't it? I have questions now. He has more of them? He's in a polyamorous relationship, okay? Don't judge him. Fair enough. I mean, as long as everyone's in on it, right? You know, he was slowly like getting through all of my cooldowns, but then I had a crit. Oops, got hit by something. Maybe we really are the warriors of darkness. Womp, womp, womp. You just killed the kind scorpion who offered him a workplace and home. Wow. What a story in the burn. No one expected this much detail in every single boss. Such deep lore. He was just about to pull out the third wife. See, those saw blades are perfect for cutting down trees. Yeah, they had a plan. The only thing that were missing were the trees. They were almost there. They just needed the trees. Huh. Interesting helmet. Here's a fun fact. I have once managed to skip this pack. The problem is you have to kill it to be allowed to move on. Like, they will not let you go into the next section without killing them. Like, it turns out that the trigger is both packs, not just one of them. Hello, Nvexay. Your first day playing this game? Well, you'll get to these eventually. We're in a big desert of nothingness, so I suppose these kinds of weird creatures are the only things that would survive. Interesting. It looks like that attack is like activated by a certain HP threshold. Oh, 1337. It is quite wild how deep the individual mobs are and like what they do. Like they have HP triggers and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the way that they're actually experienced by the player base for the most part is just people just crashing through the door, and before the mob even gets to do a thing, they're basically dead. There's also the possibility of skipping this pack, but again, the door won't open if you don't kill them. I think they may have adjusted it so that they get auto-pulled when you move forward now, because it has been a while since I did, and the burn has had some changes. Maybe it's not HP triggered. They just didn't use it before for no particular reason. Oh, we're at least progressing through the dungeon rather fast. Yeah, I'm not sure, Tepsir. The reason why I said maybe it's not is because they just opened with it now. Whereas the single worm earlier just didn't. I don't know. Desert Spice. That was really close. Very suddenly. I mean, that there are mobs in dungeons that have like triggers for this and that, where they'll do something at certain HP thresholds and time thresholds as well. Sometimes you just completely miss it because they don't ever get to finish because they like it's so late, or maybe there's a combination. Like maybe it's both a time and HP threshold and things like that. Like a pretty classic example is how the grenades and similar mobs, you know, those that just self-destruct, they will typically only self-destruct when they're close to death. There you go. 29 minutes and we're at the last boss. Now the question is whether we can even do it. if I remember correctly, this boss also has like a brutal dot that you can't avoid. That you're like that the healer's supposed to remove. It's a pretty cool dragon. Yeah. That's the one. Don't you love it when the boss just applies like a dot that does something in the ballpark of 18,000 damage over its duration, just casually? I'll need to make sure I have a defensive cooldown up to deal with the snapshot. Vaporize, that was early. Uh-oh. Oh, it only... Well... Okay. This might work. This might not work. I forgot that that also applies the painful frostbite effect. And that also applies it. They have nerfed the fight slightly when they reworked it. It used to be the case that if you got too close, it would freeze you right then and there. I don't believe it does that anymore. And I also think you're not frozen for nearly as long. See, that is the reason why I chose to hold on to equilibrium. I think this position should be fine. Because I can't heal. The only way I can heal is with equilibrium. Can't think of a lore of the dragon. It's just really chill. I don't know if that used to be harder. It might just look easier because I know exactly how to look for it. It really likes to spam Rhyme Wreath. Like, if it just keeps doing that, then this will be very, very easy. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just Rhyme Wreath. It was I felt like that was a really good strategy. It was very effective. Trust me. I have your best intentions at have your best interests at heart. Trust me. I totally wouldn't lie to you, Miss Dragon. The dragon ordered the scorpion's latest oak chair, but since you slayed them, he must get revenge. Wait, he does it again? Huh. See, I never knew that. Or at least didn't remember that. The scariest thing here is that there's a genuine possibility you simply can't find it before it strikes. And then you just have to hope. Perfect. Time for my more rhyme reads. Another one? Come on. You vaporize. That again. Oh. I certainly didn't know it was going to do that twice. And this time I don't have inner release. So I don't know if this like if the amount of Draconic Regatta left matters. He's making some wreaths for Christmas. It is quite funny that he kind of just stands there like, oh right, my only target. Now he has to buy an overpriced chair from Aetherson. And build it himself. And the weirdest part is that he's actually buying it from Eorsia Kia. And it has like a really weird name. How about some more rhyme wreath? Take this. How about some more deep fog? Don't you just love it when the boss becomes untargetable? My favorite mechanic. Yeah, exactly, Malice. See, I didn't even manage to find it there. The chair's named something like Jugelfunster. Homemade lore for when the bosses just don't quite do it for you on their own. Get yours today. I think the best part about a homemade lore in this case is that we started with a carpenter scorpion and just went with it from there. Like that was all we needed. And boom. 38 minutes. That was the fastest dungeon tonight. I was like thinking, yeah, we can probably like finish this dungeon and go like some overtime. And then in reality, this was the shortest one. We barely made it. Almost made it. 38 minutes. That means that next time we can start with Gimlet Dark, and then we will finally get new things again. Like, we'll finally start leveling again on account of doing Shadowbringer stuff. Isn't that going to be crazy? He died on the floor. Chairless. The box of Jugelfunster laid unopened. And the homemade chair that the Carpenter Scorpion was making was never finished. However, the defective drone's 5th, 6th and 7th wife will go on with their around 15 children, 3 of which are so defective that they explode if you try to make them drive fast. But they'll make it. They'll do. They'll be fine. They'll just have to find a different place to live. All because of a really angry and really small lizard. Yeah, pretty weird fanfic right here. Final Fantasy XIV solo challenge stream featuring lore for the bosses. Is this true Kaitsu lore? I don't even know. Oh, it's going to be great to get some new buttons again. I've gotten inner release so long ago at this point in this solo challenge series that I'm like I've completely forgot about the times where I had to like plan my beast gauge to get a proper berserk burst and stuff like that. It's going to be really funny when we get an even stronger heal, when we can guarantee the crits with Chaotic Cyclone. And we will be able to generate beast gauge on AoE. It's going to be grand. It's going to be great. I also just want to add this trait. After they buffed Shake It Off to come out the box with a 500 potency over 15-second heal over time effect, like that they just added randomly, like in the immediate patch following that I had remade my warrior guide just so that there was a mistake in it. That makes this trait feel weirdly underwhelming. Oh yeah, you know the thing that gives you a shield and a heal over time effect? Yeah, it also heals for a bit now. Not quite as much, but it just also heals up front now. But 38 minutes. I feel like we didn't have to kite very much in this run either. It was pretty nice. Yeah, so next time we will attempt Gimlet Dark. If I remember correctly, the final boss there has a DPS check as well. And well, like an enrage that comes at the end. But hey, maybe it doesn't one-shot you when it resolves. We might be lucky on that. And we will try that, and whether it works or not, we will be able to move on to Shadowbringers stuff after that. And I feel like it's weirdly fitting that we start the Shadowbringers dungeons with Stormblood's finale, Gimlet Dark. Exactly, even better, it's 2 bosses. And if it had just been 3 bosses, then we might have been able to like cleave them better. But because they're 2, it just doesn't really work. It's just not really good. Right. So, if you enjoyed this stream and the wonderful people that you've seen in it, remember there's a Discord community server that you can join where at least some, if not most of the people that you've seen in chat tonight are, and I will also be there. You can also find the weekly schedule where you can see what else is happening on the channel throughout the week, where I will stream again on Saturday, and there will be a video tomorrow about actually going into Mental Roulette a bunch. There's also an announcement room where you'll find the links to the new video, the new stream, or whatever it is, first, pretty much before it shows up anywhere else. And you can also go into the role assignment room and find the role reminder, which means that I will give you a little notification whenever there's a new video, a new stream, whatever it is. It's usually you'll get a little notification. And I will also give you a reminder like 15 minutes or so beforehand if it's something time sensitive like a stream, so you don't miss a second. Unless, of course, you accidentally click on the wrong link or something, which can happen. Right, and if you did enjoy the stream, it will help me a lot if you leave a like on the stream, the thumbs up in the YouTube system down there, where it is. That tells YouTube that you enjoyed the stream and you would like other people to see it, so that helps me a lot. So thank you so much in advance. I think that's everything. Tomorrow, mentor roulette related video, and then Saturday we will get the final level to 80 on Astrologian, and then we will be doing the Sorrow of Verlit, the optional trial series of Shadowbringers, which involves some weapons, and I hope you will enjoy that very much. Right, with that said, good night, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye bye.